Relationships do not come easy. You have to choose them. They have to choose you. People with healthy relationships, people that they can rely on and people that they can confide in, live an infinitely more fulfilled life than the people that don't have that. I can't believe that I don't have any friends in my community. That was something that a good friend of mine just recently told me. I just did a podcast episode not too long ago about making milk punch. If you don't know what milk punch is, go watch the episode. You'll probably learn more than you ever wanted to know. Or maybe not. The fact of the matter is, though, when it comes to making milk punch, it's unique, it's interesting. It is something that is a great conversation starter, and I personally use it to connect with people. It fits into my wheelhouse. It is authentically part of who I am. Now, that being said, just because I know how to make a good milk punch does not mean that I know how to connect well with others. Just like if you know how to do something interesting, it doesn't necessarily translate into you having friends or being able to build relationships. They are two completely different skill sets. And quite honestly, it is insane how much harder it is to make friends as an adult versus a child. Think about a tree, right? The trunk is straight. You start at the bottom where the roots are planted. The trunk is straight, but then as you start getting to the top, there starts being larger branches that come out. And then from those branches, there's more branches and then leaves, right? And so forth and so on. As you go up the tree, the complexity of the situation increases exponentially. I think the picture of what a tree looks like is a really good metaphor for how our lives evolve from children to adults. We start with this very narrow, very laid out, straight path ahead of us. Go to school, do chores, get your first job, go to a trade, go to college, whatever you end up doing. The options as a child are very limited. It's make friends and learn shit. That's literally it, right? Then by about your mid-20s, the world becomes your oyster. Maybe even sooner if you decide after high school to go into the trades. Also, big props to those of you in the trades. Can't say enough about trades work. It is only going to be exploding in need and popularity in the years to come. So, I digress. As we get older, we hit our mid-20s, those branches start becoming more apparent. As you start having children, the branches become more apparent. As you move away from your family for a job, the branches become more apparent. And on, life gets more complicated, more challenging, and where do relationships fit into that? You started off your life as someone who was being spoon-fed relationships. Here's 25 other kids in the exact same classroom, the exact same scenario, the exact same life stage, the exact same learning stage, the exact same goals, the exact same agenda, the exact same cartoons, the exact same programming, and you see them, 10 months, 9 months out of the year? Yeah, you're gonna make friends. And if you don't, oh dang, that's bad news bears right there. Because it's the easiest time anyone is ever going to have at connecting because you're forced to. It's kind of like connect to survive. But then nobody tells you that, hey, guess what? It all changes. when you get a little older, maybe you had kids and started a family in your mid-20s, but you have a best friend that's not gonna get married and have kids until they're in their mid-30s. That's a 10-year gap between your life stages. And I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna probably stay friends with that person, but the friendship's gonna look a lot different because you guys are fundamentally different now. You're a parent, they're not. You have kids, they don't. You have responsibilities, they don't. Truly. And so the list goes on and on of what makes creating and maintaining friendships harder and harder as the responsibilities in our life stack and as the changes in our lives stack. It's interesting, proximity does not equal relationship. It makes it a hell of a lot easier, but to this person I mentioned earlier, this friend of mine, hey, I live in this neighborhood with a lot of people around my age, and some of those people I know, and I just don't feel connected to them, and I don't think I'm really friends with any of them. Guess what? One of two things is happening here. Either you're not around the right people, like your people, whatever that looks like, right? They don't have the same interests. They don't have the same faith. They aren't in the same life stage. They don't, whatever, right? Like there's something that's in alignment, right? That could be one piece, or the other piece is you're not trying hard enough, or you're not trying at all. I did a podcast a while back about givers, equalizers, and takers. And I think the older we get, especially in our own personal lives, the less we put up with takers. So if you're a taker and you're expecting connection, I got sad news for you. Once people realize that you don't really provide a lot and that you just take a lot, they're gonna shut you down and cut you off. You're not gonna be getting invited out to go do a lot of stuff because people realize that you're a drain on the resources. And in a time in life when you're married, you got kids, you got a lot going on, you have a very limited amount of resources. So you really have to evolve into, at minimum, an equalizer, or at best case scenario is you turn yourself into a giver. And you have to be intentional about forming relationships. Just because you have dope neighbors that live next door doesn't mean that you automatically just get to be friends with them, right? You have to choose them. They have to choose you. And then at the end of the day, now that you're in this relationship where you've chosen to be cool, you actually have to put in the work. You got to invite them over, or have them over for the barbecue, or have a kids free night out on the town with them, or whatever, game night or something, right? You have to do stuff. It can look like many different things. Usually lunch or dinner with people is a very acceptable, easy thing to do. But you gotta do stuff to maintain the relationship. It's like getting married, right? Once you get married, you can't just be like, cool, see you later. This has been really fun. We're gonna do some stuff together, but like, I'm just gonna live my life and you're gonna live your life. But then when like I want something from you, then like you need to give me that thing that I want from you, okay? It doesn't work that way. And it doesn't work that way with friendships either. You have to give, you have to pour into the relationship. Now, I've said this before, I talk to people about building relationships. I tell them what it's gonna take. I explain to them the importance behind it all, and all I am met with is, oh man, that sounds like it's a lot of work. No shit, it's a lot of work. It's exhausting. The life of a hermit is quite easy. But I would also argue that the life of a hermit is very unfulfilled. We are naturally social creatures, to a degree. Some people love being social, some people don't like it so much, but even the people that don't like being social still have their people. and they find enjoyment and they find pleasure, they find fulfillment in those connections, even though there might be fewer of them. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because it's important to understand. It's important to understand that as you get older, relationships go from being handed to you and given to you on a silver platter to becoming intentional. And you're dealing with other adults that have the power of choice, right? Yes, we had the power of choice when we were little kids, but guess what? If Timmy didn't really like you, you still probably got invited to Timmy's party because it was the right thing until Timmy got old enough to tell his parents, hey, like, knock it off, please. The older we get, the more choice we have. And so by the time we're adults and we are in full autonomous control of our lives, we have full autonomous control of our relationships and those that we decide to be in. It takes work. Both personally and professionally, relationships take work. It's a choice, and you gotta make the choice. But if you go online and you look and you do a little bit of research, you will find that people with healthy relationships, people that have people that they can call and people that they can rely on and people that they can confide in, live an infinitely more fulfilled life than the people that don't have that. It's important. It's important to have that naturally in your personal life. And it's important to have that, why did I say naturally? I shouldn't have said that naturally. Relationships don't just naturally occur. It's important to choose it in your personal life, and it's also important to choose it and pursue it in your professional life. And who knows, the two might even overlap a little bit where you end up having someone that you work with, a client or a customer of yours, that you end up forming such a great connection with, that person actually gets to also enhance your personal life. I'm gonna talk more about that in a later podcast because I think it's really important, and it goes to the idea of work-life satisfaction. And yes, I said work-life satisfaction because work-life balance is BS. Not to start a war here, but it really is, and we kind of need to change the way we think about that. But getting back to relationships, pick relationships. Pick the hard thing. Do the challenging thing. Pick up the phone. Call that person you've been meaning to call. Send that email. Talk to the person that you haven't spoken with in a while. Rekindle a relationship that with one of your buddies that has maybe been on the rocks. If you need to, say sorry, right? Don't let a shitty interaction or something that was small and petty and not that big of a deal stop you from having people that you're connected with. Whatever it's gonna take, connect. You can still be choosy. You still can really go through who you want in your life with a fine-tooth comb. But definitely once you've identified the people that you do want around, make an effort to let them know that you love them and that you care about them and that they're important to you and that you want to see them, because when you do see them, they make your life better. And then do something with them, right? Put your money where your mouth is and do something with them. Be intentional. Relationships do not come easy. You know what? I'm gonna leave on this. If you have any killer ways to connect as an adult, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. Whatever it is, right? If you have some surefire method of like finding your people, or some like amazing thing that you do with your friends, or some like ritualistic trip that you go on with a core group of people because you think it's important, I want to hear about it because other people want to hear about this. Other people need to hear about this and see just how impactful it is and how much it matters and that it is doable if you put your mind to it and if you make the time and take the energy to make it happen. With that being said, I wish you all the best of luck in your connections and your relationships, and I cannot wait to hear from you. about what it looks like on your side. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.